Good morning, America. A powerful new storm on the move. The first snow in Las Vegas in a decade. Los Angeles seeing snow for the first time since 1962.
Oh my God!
Now 32 states on alert as the severe weather heads east. Ginger tracking it all.
Also this morning, Jussie Smollett returning to the Empire set overnight, still defiant, denying he did anything wrong after being charged with staging that elaborate hoax.
Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
What his lawyers are now saying.
On alert for major developments in the Russia investigation. The president and his team bracing for the special counsel's report at any moment.
Uber rampage. The driver who killed 6 people, and now the never-before-seen video.
The insane close call. A skier trapped in an avalanche. The whole thing caught on helmet cam and the remarkable rescue.
We got you, buddy.
And on the eve of Hollywood's biggest night, what we're learning about the secret star who's really behind the music of Bohemian Rhapsody. And in the most unpredictable contest in years, which superstar will really rock the Oscars?
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. Michael's ready to take the stage on Sunday night. They need a host.
You've been rocking out.
Never. Not happening.
It's great to have Cecilia here this morning.
Thanks,
Welcome.
guys. It's great to be here. And we've got a little bit of a say what for you. Snow in California. Busy Friday morning here, starting with that powerful new storm moving east, as we just said, bringing snow all the way to California and Las Vegas.
If you don't believe us, take a look at this. A snowman in front of the iconic Las Vegas side, and that is a rare sight. Schools are shut down on a rare snow day. And Ginger, you're tracking it all. Good morning.
Schools closed in LA. This has only happened the 3rd time now since the 1970s. So you see those pictures of the palm trees just covered. I'm talking about inches of snow outside of Vegas itself. Malibu, California, you see either graupel or snow falling in the hills there. Now we'll see this storm impact folks from Denver to Virginia.
God, it's snowing!
It snowed in Los Angeles and the hills above Malibu, and even where Chris Harrison lives. The rare snow blanketing Southern California, Nevada, and Arizona. It was plowable snow near Lake Elsinore, California. And in Hollywood, just days before the Oscars, snow covering Sunset Boulevard. In Las Vegas, the most snow Sin City has seen in more than a decade. And in parts of Arizona, a foot of snow has left cars buried on the side of the road, leaving some drivers stranded for hours on Interstate 40. Flagstaff got almost 3 feet of snow. That is their snowiest day on record. The winter weather now moving east, parts of the Midwest preparing for whiteout conditions this weekend. This after many in Minnesota and Wisconsin have already seen their snowiest February on record. But the other danger? Flash flooding and severe storms. Northeast of Knoxville, Tennessee, rain destroying this highway. Let's take this low pressure system to the east now. So it's Denver today, tonight, into tomorrow. And then it is the severe storms forecast that I really want you to focus in on for Saturday. So Saturday, you can see damaging wind and even tornadoes for parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. That large area in yellow all has to look for a risk of severe storms. Guys, as remarkable as this storm is, it will eventually impact us here on the East Coast with rain by the end of the weekend.
Okay, Ginger, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest now on Jussie Smollett. He's free on $100,000 bail after being charged for staging his own attack. Smollett declared his innocence overnight on the set of Empire. ABC's Eva Pilgrim in Chicago with the latest. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, George. Jussie Smollett left court and went straight to work, returning to the set of Empire to film the upcoming season. We're told he gave a short speech to his fellow cast and crew.
Jussie Smollett not backing down this morning, denying any wrongdoing. The embattled actor seen heading directly to the set of Empire to film scenes after leaving court on felony charges, including 1 count of disorderly conduct for filing a false police report. Authorities claiming Smollett was lying when he said he was the victim of a homophobic and racist attack, a story he told ABC News last week.
He said, "This MAGA country punches me right in the face." So I punched his ass back. I noticed the rope around my neck and I started screaming.
Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
Outraged Chicago authorities detailing what they call an elaborate lie that took weeks of planning, claiming that first Smollett sent this homophobic and racist letter to himself in an attempt to garner attention. When that didn't work, authorities say Smollett paid brothers Abel and Ola Osendero $3,500 in the form of a personal check.
And why? This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary.
That salary, while not public, is reportedly in the ballpark of $100,000 per episode, according to a source familiar with his deal. The brothers turning out to be the same men in the surveillance video released days after the alleged attack. Jussie identifying them in this ABC interview.
I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's them. Never did.
It was this admission, authorities say, confirmed their suspicions.
He identified who those two individuals were. You know, we knew that then, but he didn't know that we knew. But yeah, he helped us out when he identified them.
Prosecutors also say they have obtained messages that detail the relationship between the men and the actor, with one of the brothers allegedly providing the drug ecstasy to Smollett on at least one other occasion. Overnight, confusion and outrage from those who initially supported Smollett, including movie and TV mogul Tyler Perry, writing on Facebook, "I'm lost for words," adding that he is praying for Smollett and his family.
This publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve.
Now, Smollett's team maintaining his innocence, releasing a statement saying Mr. Smollett feels betrayed by a system that apparently wants to skip due process and proceed directly to sentencing. George?
Kiva, thanks. Let's bring in our senior legal correspondent, Sunny Hassan, for more on this. The lawyers have been in talks with the police on Wednesday night, clearly fighting right now, but what could a defense look like here?
You know, I think Jussie has certainly been tried in the court of public opinion because this case has become so public and so big. And so if you are defended by someone like Mark Garagos, my good friend, I think you have to take on public opinion. And that's why we're seeing these defense attorneys making these kinds of statements. And so I think we're going to see more of that kind of offense.
They're not just taking on public opinion, they're taking on a boatload of evidence right there, the checks, the testimony, the pictures.
And we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see them attacking the police department. I think we're going to see the defense attorneys attacking the evidence. And I think that they have to do that because they only have three options, right? They either go to trial, they either strike a deal, or they try to change the current trend, which is everybody feels that he is guilty.
I get what you're saying about attacking the evidence, but what do you attack? I mean, there's a check.
Yes.
There's pictures of the guys buying the rope. There's phone calls.
Says the police department, and the Chicago Police Department has notoriously had a lot of issues. And so from the defense perspective, they are going to attack. Because again, Jussie Smollett is still entitled to the presumption of innocence. You are innocent in this country until proven guilty. I think that is what the defense is going to do in this case.
We'll be watching for the evidence. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
And on Monday, Robin is going to have an exclusive interview with the superintendent we saw right there at the Chicago Police Department, Eddie Johnson. Cecilia?
Looking forward to that one. We are going to turn now to that election stunner in North Carolina. Allegations of ballot tampering forcing a new congressional election, and the man at the center of it all, the Republican nominee, brought to tears by surprise testimony from his own son. Our senior congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, has more. And Mary, this is a case that could have some pretty big implications for all those allegations of election fraud that we keep hearing out at Washington.
Yes, this is a pretty dramatic twist in what has become one of the most visible examples of alleged election fraud. And this is very different from those unfounded claims of voter fraud that the president is often repeating. Democrats have long argued that that kind of in-person fraud by voters is actually very rare, and that instead it is cases like what has allegedly happened here in North Carolina that Republicans should really be focusing on. After fighting for his congressional seat for months, North Carolina Republican candidate Mark Harris making a stunning reversal.
I believe a new election should be called.
The state election board now preparing for a do-over.
Say aye. Aye. I believe it's a unanimous vote.
The results of the first election were stuck in limbo, rocked by allegations that votes were stolen. Harris has insisted he knew of no illegal activity within his campaign.
Neither I nor any of the leadership of my campaign were aware of or condoned the improper activities that have been testified to in this hearing.
But at the center of the controversy, his political strategist, McCrae Dallas, accused of tampering with more than 500 absentee ballots to help Harris win. Testifying against his father, Harris's own son said he warned him that Dallas was, quote, shady.
I love my dad, and I love my mom. Okay, I think that they made mistakes in this process.
John Harris said he told his father it appeared Dallas may have used illegal tactics in the past to win votes while working for another candidate.
I told him that collecting ballots was a felony, and I would send him the statute that showed that collecting ballots was a felony.
His emotional testimony driving his father to tears.
I raised red flags at the time that the decision was made to hire Mr. Dallas. That's what I did.
Now, voters in North Carolina are now going to have to start this process from scratch, beginning with an entirely new primary. And guys, a whole new election like this, it is so rare. We haven't seen it since 1974.
Wow.
It's going to take months for this to work itself out.
And still unknown if that candidate is going to be back on the ballot. So thanks to Mary for that.
I think it's he hasn't said yet. We'll see if he's on the ballot. We're going to move on now to the Russia investigation, apparently close to an end, with Robert Mueller poised to deliver his report to the Attorney General in the coming days. One of the Trump associates he's already indicted, Roger Stone, is facing new trouble in court. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. There's every indication that the special counsel is finishing his investigation and could hand over his report to Attorney General Bill Barr at any moment. This unfolding as some of the president's closest advisors remain in the spotlight, including one who found himself facing a very frustrated judge. Roger Stone, the president's longtime friend, advisor, and outspoken defender, is now under a gag order and facing possible jail time if he speaks to the media about his case, period. Stone in legal trouble for posting this image online of the judge overseeing the special counsel's case against him. Federal Judge Amy Berman Jackson and a crosshairs target in this biting statement from Stone, noting that Jackson was an appointee of Obama. In a dramatic move, Stone taking the stand and pleading with the court for mercy and forgiveness. I'm kicking myself over my own stupidity. This was an egregious, stupid error for which I apologize. Jackson asking Stone, how hard was it to come up with a photograph that didn't have a crosshairs? Stone maintained he simply reposted the picture really without looking at it, and that the mistake was an outgrowth of the extreme stress. But Judge Jackson was not buying it, arguing the post could potentially incite others. Roger Stone fully understands the power of words, she said. In the world of social media, there really is no such thing as a take-back. As for Stone's apology, thank you, Jackson said, but the apology rings quite hollow. Stone in court as Michael Cohen, Mr. Trump's former attorney, was also here on Capitol Hill, preparing to testify next week on the same day President Trump meets with North Korea's leader. The president's men again under scrutiny as Mueller's investigation draws to a close, George.
Yeah, and on that note, the man who leaked Michael Cohen's financial records also facing indictment now as well. Pierre Thomas, thanks very much. To see you.
We've got some breaking news, Justin. A powerful magnitude 7.5 earthquake striking Ecuador near the border with Peru there, close to the town of Montalvo. There were no immediate reports of injuries, but the president says that the quake was felt all over the country, and we will be following this developing story. Michael.
All right, thank you. And now to the latest on that Coast Guard officer accused of plotting a domestic terror attack. We're now learning more about how authorities may have caught him. ABC's Terry Moran is in Washington with more this morning. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Michael. Prosecutors say that Coast Guard Lieutenant Christopher Haston was a domestic terrorist, a self-described white nationalist who was amassing weapons, plotting to start a race war and, quote, murder innocent civilians on a scale rarely seen in this country. The 49-year-old is being held on drug and gun charges right now, but in court, prosecutors described what they say were Haston's chilling plans, including he had a possible hit list, and on it, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, for presidential candidates Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and cable news personalities like Chris Cuomo of CNN, our former colleague. Last year, Coast Guard authorities discovered that Haston was using his work computer to research things like sniper attacks and the manifestos of previous mass shooters. That's when they brought in the FBI. They've been tracking him since. His defense lawyer, however, she tells a very different story. She describes him as a loving husband and father and says it's not a crime to think negative thoughts. George?
A lot to sort through there. Okay, Terry, thanks very much. We have a reversal now from President Trump on Syria, with the White House announcing overnight that the U.S. will not withdraw all U.S. forces. Instead, a peacekeeping force of 200 troops will stay behind. After the president announced in December that all 2,000 U.S. troops would come home, he came under pressure from advisors, allies, and Republicans in Congress to maintain a U.S. presence. No word from the White House on how long the troops will remain. Michael?
Now we're going to turn now to the Oscars. The 91st Academy Awards, they're just 2 days away. And our resident expert, Chris Connolly, is outside the Dolby Theater. And Chris has some predictions for us. Chris, this is really looking like a toss-up, actually.
It is true, Michael. Good morning. You know, we had snow yesterday here in the LA area, and it's just as rare to have an Oscar race with so much delicious uncertainty. What is going to take home the night's biggest prize?
Everyone loves a wide-open Oscar race, and Best Picture
Cover had a bunch of kids sit around a campfire. Orpheus.
is anyone's guess. Why? Because this year, everyone seems to have a different opinion. The Golden Globes picked Green Book as a comedy or musical, and Bohemian Rhapsody as a drama. You do you, Golden Globes. The Critics' Choice Awards gave its thumbs up to Roma. The Screen Actors Guild's Best Cast Award went to Black Panther. Want more? The cinematographers went for the foreign film Cold War. Directors gave their top prize to Roma. Film editors opted for The Favorite and Borat. Producers sound pleased that their hostless cupcake won't have an opening monologue.
His monologue was 18 minutes. Do the math. We saved 18 minutes.
If there was nothing else in the show, we've saved that much. So.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of that time was people, you know, laughing and applauding. But whatever. Remember, no matter what happens during the ceremony, we won't know who'll win Best Picture.
And the Oscar goes to...
until the moment somebody opens that envelope. Or if it's like a couple of years ago,
there's a mistake.
Until a few moments.
Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
After somebody opens that envelope.
So if you want to narrow it down, let's put it this way. Green Book's won a lot of competitions. Roma is the most personal film, and it's often described as a masterpiece, and everybody loves Black Panther, which became a cultural force beyond the movie. So one of those three will win on Sunday. So I narrowed it down to 3, guys. What do I win?
Yeah, okay, 33% chance of getting it right. All right, thank you so much, Chris. And that's why we don't know. That's why you have to watch the Oscars. You can see the Oscars live at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC.
And take a look at this scary moment on the court. America's top college player injured when his shoe split right open. Coming up, the big debate, should he keep on playing or wait for the pros?
And the never-before-seen interrogation tape of that Uber driver who went on a deadly rampage. He says his Uber app made him do it. That is also ahead. But first, let's go back to Ginger.
And you know, the storm has a flash flooding potential. I want to bring you from Columbia, Tennessee. This is the Duck River, one of the many rivers that are rising. Schools there are actually closed because of how much rain they've had in the last week. A look at what's to come. Unfortunately, more rain there and more snow for Wisconsin and Minnesota. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the weekend getaways, sponsored by Expedia.com.
After months of wearing only a tiger costume, we're finally going on the trip I've been promising. Because with Expedia, I saved when I added a hotel to our flight. So even when she outgrows her costume, we'll never outgrow the memory of our adventure together.
Unlock savings when you add select hotels to your existing trip. Only when you book with Expedia.
Not as cold of a start this morning, but our temperatures are going to stay on the lower side today, mid to upper 40s with those clouds and maybe a passing shower, mainly south of D.C. for today. Now, for your Saturday and for your Sunday, it's going to be a mixed bag. Most of the rain will be from lunchtime through 11 p.m. Pretty soggy, too. The high 42 on Saturday, but 68 degrees expected on Sunday. Some areas could even be a little higher, and it's going to be pretty gusty as well, with winds possibly up to 40 miles per hour.
Friday here. We've got a lot coming up still. We'll be right back.
I'm a close talker, so I was excited about all new Colgate Total. Its breakthrough formula does more,
Wonderful.
Sensitivity strengthens teeth. It kills germs through my home.